Hello and welcome to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
Two Therapists and a Microphone is a show about mental health, relationships, and social issues that personally affect you. We broadcast live every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Our Black Media Network.
Harrison and I are two licensed psychotherapists with decades of experience, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your situations or dilemmas that you're going through. So please visit our webpage, www.twotherapist.com, and click on Ask Two Therapists at the top of the page. We'll make
All
it
right.
clinical. We'll give a little personal, but we'll make it clinical, give you a little
Yeah, we'll keep it
professional
confidential.
advice too.
Absolutely. So today's show, we call it Hot Topics, where Dr. Aisha and I we bring up a topic, and we don't let the other person know what we're going to talk about. Surprisingly, last time we had the very same topic. I don't
It
think
was a very hot topic.
it was a hot topic, and we needed to talk about it too. Fathers and their grown kids when you're absent. Don't expect a whole lot. So today we have a new batch of hot topics we want to talk about, give some ideas about it, and how possibly you can overcome some of those scenarios. So Aisha, I always like for you to go first. Let's talk
I
about.
always go first, Harrison.
You want me to go
But okay.
first?
Yeah, I want you to go first this time. Go
I
ahead.
could do it. I could do it because I got one. So I was out with a few friends recently, and they invited some other guys out, and had a short, brief conversation with a friend of a friend. That means I really didn't know him, and he knew about my career and what I do for a living. And okay, okay, gotcha. And so, yes, here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, anyway, I was talking to him. He was describing to me, he's about 40-ish, mid 40s, 45, divorced. And he was in a relationship with a woman who was also divorced. And she has a grown kid in college in the Atlanta area. And he said he was feeling really good about the relationship. It was going well, but there was an issue he wanted to ask me about. So I want to bring it up to you because we didn't have a time to finish the conversation, because we're out at a sports bar watching the game. And but here's the situation that was described to me. I really hope he's not watching. But
Oh, I
so the
hope
problem
again.
was the girlfriend, I think they've been together for almost a year. They're grown, mid 40s, and he has a kid too. That's right, grown child. Her ex husband was always at the house. Her
Is
ex
he
husband,
homeless?
her ex husband would come over to fix things, take care of the daughter's car, who's in college. And on one occasion, when he took his girlfriend out, I guess, and brought her back to her house. I don't know the situation. The ex husband was in the house eating at the kitchen table. Now he said he had a good relationship with the dude. He was cool. They didn't have any issues. The reason they broke up, the girlfriend and her ex husband, was because he cheated on her and got another woman pregnant. So all of that was cool. He was just really bothered and wanted to know, was it right for him to feel so uncomfortable that he's always there? It's like the place was still his, and it was the house that he said they own together. And whatever the arrangement with the divorce, she's the wife, ex-wife stayed there, and the daughter's off to college now. But he was acting like the house was still his and still had ownership of it. Although he had no weird vibes with the ex husband, he was always concerned about he would come over to pick up things, to fix things in the house, would just come over sometimes. And he was really shocked that he was there eating at the kitchen table by himself when he took his girlfriend back home and he saw the ex husband's car there. So I wanted to bring this up. We didn't have a chance to finish that conversation, but wanted to hear what are your thoughts. I think those are all the details. Those were the significant details. But he was growing uneasy about the how the ex husband was always there. And the girlfriend was like cool with it, was sort of sending him signals like it's no big deal. He's cool. You two can hang out if you want to, but he was always there in the house. So what do you make of that?
So I do have more questions. Like, how long have they been divorced? And I know that they have a college age daughter. Did he give you any information on how how long they've been divorced?
He did not mention. I did not ask.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Because there's a big difference between him being at the house and them having been divorced like 10 years and
Yep.
him being at the house and they've only been divorced 1 year. If they've only been divorced 1 year, I could guarantee you that he's doing a lot more than fixing stuff around the house. If
That's
he's
what
still
he's
showing up there.
wondering.
Okay. So that could still be the case if they've been divorced 10 years, but whatever's in their divorce, if she's living in the house, he shouldn't be able to get in and out, especially now that the daughter is in college.
Yep.
She's an adult. They have a lack of boundaries. And outside of this one issue, or what we're identifying as the issue, there's a bigger issue, and that's lack of boundaries. If she has an issue with boundaries there, she's
Yep.
going to have an issue with boundaries with you. She's going to have an issue with boundaries with your ex-wife, with your children. This woman's boundaries are all over the place. Now, I mean, I don't know everything about her boundaries, but I'm saying this is one huge
That's enough.
one.
Yeah,
So,
yes. Yeah, so that's great what you just brought up, because that's eventually where the conversation steered toward. I didn't ask about how long they had been divorced. But that's a great question. But it was suspicious behavior
oh,
for
definitely.
him. And he was uneasy with it because dude was so comfortable in that house.
Well,
You know,
and I think it would be different if the story was that he just so happened to get along with the ex-husband really well, and the
yeah,
ex-husband was always there because they were friends. Now, I've seen that happen, and although it's weird to me, it's just weird.
yeah.
It's something completely different when the
But
ex-husband is
that's not the
always
case
there
here.
because of his ex-wife.
Yeah, that wasn't the case, and he was just like I mentioned, he thought it was suspicious. He didn't know what to think of it, and it was all he was being preoccupied, with thoughts about what's going on. Why is he there? Is he spending the night? He asked her. Was the old boy spending the night? He was aware he had another kid, the ex-husband and everything, and he didn't understand why they were still so close. And they're parenting, of course, and I think that's a great idea. He thought that was really good too, but we started talking about boundaries.
I mean, at
You
this
know,
point, it's an adult though. How much are
yeah.
you parenting an adult? I mean, I know it's an adult child, but an adult who doesn't live in the home. What I heard you say was she is away for
Yep.
college. So
Yep.
she's not in the home anyway. So essentially he really has no reason to be there.
So when I think the little example I explored just a little bit, something was wrong with the cable box, something, Wi-Fi, whatever. Instead of homegirl calling her
You
boyfriend,
better call Xfinity or somebody.
she contacted the ex-husband,
Oh no.
who came over and reportedly fixed it. Now she seemed okay with it because she informed the boyfriend when he brought it up. Oh, did you need me to take a look at your cable or whatever it was, Wi-Fi? And she said, "Oh no, homeboy did took care of it." So it made him feel unwanted, and somebody else is there to do
I
the
bet.
things that he wants to do for. But we eventually talked about those boundaries and how she has different values with her ex-husband compared to the ones he has with his ex-wife. He said he rarely talked to his ex-wife, and his kid I think is out of college or
Mhm.
maybe mid-20s or something. But that was an interesting scenario that I talked with him.
And how long have they been dating?
He said almost a year, and he didn't know what to
It's
think
not too
about it.
late to move on.
And he didn't know if he was overreacting or being overly suspicious of it. And I
Neither.
suggested he go with his gut. I'm not saying homegirl is cheating, but if you have a request, is it wrong for him to request? Hey, I don't like how you spend so much time with your ex-husband in your home. Is it right for him to request that she put up some more boundaries and spend less time with her ex-husband?
So I think yes, but what I know about a lot of people is they will consider that control. Oh, he's trying to control me. Tell me who I can hang out with. Tell me who
Yeah,
I could be friends with.
I can
And
see that.
although we used to be married, we're just friends now and he helps me. And he's the one who's always there, regardless of who I date, who comes in and out of my life. And if you leave today, he'll still be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because it sounds like she put a condition on the relationship with the dude I was talking to, that if we're going to be together, you're going to have to be friends with my ex-husband.
and y'all gonna have to be a
Because
throuple.
he's part of the package, is what I eventually reflected back to him. Is
All
that
of y'all go together.
yeah, yes, that's he said he feels like that, because sometimes he's talking to his girlfriend, and then she'll say, "Oh, just ask so and so about it," as if they're all three are in that relationship together.
Is
He
he
said,
helping pay the bills too? I mean, I know they own the house together. She still lives there, so chances are they just
but
in
the daughter is
retirement.
grown now,
Mhm,
so I most people I know who are divorced, once that kid turns 18, a lot of things turn off
mhm.
financial support. So I don't know. I didn't go that deep because we were sitting at a sports bar with about five people at a table, and he just wanted to ask me that, and had a little quick conversation about it. But I suggested it wasn't wrong to put a request to her, based on your feelings and how you were coping with things because you're uncomfortable,
Right.
with the nature of that relationship and how he's always there. And then this expectation that he was supposed to be cool with the ex-husband. He said he
Right.
didn't dislike the ex-husband. He had nothing against him. He just didn't want to see him all the time. So-
I mean, who wants to see somebody that their significant other slept with regularly? I
and
mean, people could
still
say they're
depend on
okay with
him.
it, but yeah.
So I know I would be suspicious of
And if
that.
if he had not cheated, they would still be together. So
Yes, that
sounds
too.
like she still liked and loved everything else about him.
Possibly if he hadn't gotten this other woman pregnant,
Okay, that
is the
so not just that he
impression.
cheated. If the other woman hadn't gotten pregnant, they would still be together.
He was
So she still
wondering
has a
if
lot
they
of
would
love
still
for
be
him.
together if he had never gotten this other woman pregnant. Forget the cheating part, the infidelity. He's just uncomfortable with how close she is to him and how she relies. There's still an emotional bond
Hmm.
there with her ex-husband. And whether or not they having sex may even be irrelevant. At this point, where does he fit in? Was the
I mean,
question
it's
that
still an emotional connection, and
yep.
people can cheat emotionally as well. So who's to
Mhm.
say that when you all don't have arguments that she doesn't go back and talk to her ex-husband about it, that she's not now having some sort of emotional affair with her ex-husband and doesn't consider it an affair because they're not having sex.
And because they share a daughter together, a child
Yeah.
together. So how would you like it if you were in that scenario, dating a dude, you like him, he was divorced, and he has an ex-wife who was just always over there cooking for him, bringing him meals and stuff, and then
She's
she
got
and she
one
wants to
time
be
to be over
cool
there
with
cooking.
you.
Mm-mm. We could be cool if she could cook at her house if they're doing something for the kids, but it would only take one time for me to know she was at his home cooking for him and
And
not
he didn't hide it. And he
and
didn't
not
hide
their
it.
kids, and
Like they're still a family.
that doesn't work for me. Now, here's the thing, it works for some people. So it might work for this guy you're talking about, but it
No,
wouldn't
it's
work for
not.
me.
It's not. I
Y'all
can
know this
tell.
about me. I don't do that.
I
These
just
are
wanted to
things
ask
everybody knows
from a
about me.
woman's perspective, the tables were turned because he seemed a little torn by it and not quite sure what to do next. Because quite possibly, I could tell he's going to have to make some decisions that might ultimately end that relationship. Because if you're that uneasy that you're going to talk to a stranger, you know, through a friend who you know is a therapist at a sports bar, then it's obviously something on your mind. So I
I could even almost understand if the children are younger. I know that a lot of people work
yeah,
together and make sure that the children still have some consistency and Maybe there's a meal being cooked then, and making sure that stuff is fixed at the home because your kid lives there. And even
Mm.
then, that's still a little boundary blurring.
So
But
they
in this
deserve a
case,
key to the house still, or they
no,
could enter and come and go when they want to.
absolutely not.
That's so cool. I mean, you and your boyfriend go back to his place, and his ex-wife is eating a meal at the kitchen table.
I'm just turning around. I'm walking back out. Everybody's blocked. The end.
So my suggestion, I don't even think he's listening to the show. I didn't even mention anything about the show. My suggestion would be you set your own boundaries, what you're comfortable with,
Right.
and put out a request about what your expectations of her, and see how she responds, and whether or not she is more loyal to you or to her ex-husband, and keeping up this emotional connection where they still feel like a family. Because he was actually brought this up. He was actually worried about how they were going to spend the holidays and whether or not old dude was going to be there.
Oh yeah, if he's there when his daughter is there, he's definitely gonna be there when she is there.
Yeah, but he wants to be the one who fixes the daughter's car or come over and fix the Wi-Fi, whatever those things that guys sometimes do. But
Hmm.
but someone else is there, so that means someone else is in that relationship, and
So
it
she
doesn't.
doesn't really need you.
That's the feeling that I was getting from him, where he didn't feel needed, and that this was a weird relationship where there's a third person involved, and he was expected to be cool. That's the term he used. He was expected to be cool with old dude, the ex-husband, but he didn't want any of that. So just like any other couple romantic relationship, your needs got to be met,
Yeah.
and if they're not, then you should at least discuss it, and don't allow her to make you believe you're overreacting, because she's comfortable with that facade that's going on, or still pretending like they're married. That's the advice that I would give. Any final words from you?
Yes. Um, like Harrison said, set your boundaries. She might not be okay with those boundaries, and if she isn't, just go ahead and cut your losses since you've only been together for like a year. And then, shoot me a picture. Depending on your age, I probably got somebody I could hook you up with. She'll be much nicer and won't have her ex-husband around the house.
Can you imagine what that leads to later on if they stay together, possibly get married? Can you just imagine?
I mean,
He's
like
got a
you, a grown man walking around now your house, or I guess, and eventually you all move out of the house, and there's a whole nother grown man in your house. How
yeah.
would you feel about that, Harrison? No,
No,
another grown man walking
no,
around your house.
no, not my house, and the other person's house either. No, it's just two people. So that's my advice for all you out there in a similar situation, or somebody in a similar situation. Set those boundaries and those expectations. You have a right to be in the type of relationship you want to be in, and if you don't want to be in a relationship with a third person, even though it's only emotional, I think it's only emotional. I'm not too sure, but you still don't have to like it. So I'm just surprised. I didn't know people did that. Remain so close with their exes, where they're still intimately involved in their life and the new person who they're trying to establish something with. I didn't know people did that.
I mean, I guess it could be healthy. I'm just having a difficult time seeing how. That's it. It's
And if
it's
he's already
I can't see
uncomfortable,
it.
so that's my hot topic for
All
the day.
right.
That was an interesting one.
That is funny. All right. So, anyone who knows me knows how much I love football, especially college football, because I'm from Alabama. I don't care that much about NFL football, not as much as Harrison does. So, college football, and other people who know me know that I am from Montgomery, Alabama, home of Alabama State University. And this past weekend, they had their homecoming against Jackson State, whose current head coach is Deion Sanders. Of course, Jackson State won. I think people could say, no, I thought Alabama State had a chance. I thought everybody knew Jackson State was going to
A
win,
loss
but
is a loss.
right. But at the end of the game, There, Deion Sanders and Eddie Robinson Jr., they shook hands. Usually they go in for the bro hug. And there seemed to be a little a pushback and some
It
words.
was a
And
block. It was
is
a
that what
hand.
we consider
I
a
saw it.
block?
I saw it. Mhm.
And then there was the interview afterwards where
But
Eddie
don't
Robinson.
forget, don't forget that when Dion went to shake the other coach's hand, he put his hand up on his shoulder to keep distance, and he swiped him away and said, "You're not swag." That's the comment
Was this
he
at the
made.
beginning or was
This
this at the end?
this is
At the
this
end?
is at the end
At
of
the end.
him
Okay.
attempting to shake his
Oh yeah, yeah.
hand on the field after the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had this conversation with my father yesterday, and we were on two different pages. My dad went to Alabama State, and so he was all like, Deion Sanders was wrong, all
Really?
that stuff. And I was like, right. Like, I mean, he's all in for Alabama State, but,
Okay.
and he's like, Deion ain't swag, but how is he not swag? He
I don't
brought all
understand
this
that.
money to swag. So, according to my father, because Deion went to wherever he went to school,
Florida State.
Even though he coaches for SWAC, Eddie Robinson went to Alabama State, so he's SWAC.
Oh, he
Why does
doesn't.
it matter where you went to school?
I didn't know that. I'm glad you explained that because I didn't get that. I saw the interview Dion did afterwards. He was
Mhm.
upset. I don't blame him, and he said, "Who is Swag?"
And now he's made a whole song. I mean, you know what?
Somebody
And
made a
nothing
song
else.
about it.
Deion Sanders is a marketing genius.
Yes, he
He
is.
took what Robinson said, and now he is making money off of it. It's the trending hashtag on Twitter. Hashtag who was SWAC.
So it sounds like I'm glad you explained that. The issue is Deion Sanders did not attend the HBCU,
Right.
and he didn't attend one within the SWAC either.
Right.
So as if he doesn't belong. So I didn't understand why the other coach was so upset. The Alabama State coach, you lose, you lose.
Well, he said
Happens
that
all the time with the Falcons.
I know, right? And you still love him, Harrison.
I sure do.
But he said that Deion was talking a bunch of mess all week.
He
and
does.
then he came and he walked around the field and was talking to the players, and he was disrespectful.
That's
But Deion Sanders
Deion.
walks around the field all the time. And today, Deion Sanders posted on Twitter him walking around the field, and he was not talking to the players. The players were talking to him. And they were saying cuss words at him. They were extremely disrespectful. I mean, just
So
forget
he
being.
had a video receipt.
He sure did. And
Contradicting
he said, I stay mic'd up. So these boys were like, what the F you doing over here? Get your A on the other side. I mean,
the players?
Yes. And of course you hear the fans booing. That's expected. But this is what the players were saying.
But at least they weren't cussing them out.
Right. So forget being the respect that you're supposed to have as a player to a coach. You can mean mug them all you want to. You have no business talking to the other coach. But I know they're adults, but still, a child. You disrespecting an older black man. Oh, he's on the other side of the field. Let your coach talk to him. Stay in your place as a player. They made themselves look bad. They talked all this junk, and Deion gave it a few days, and he was like, here's the footage.
Wow.
So she wanted to say I was talking to the players.
So that is peculiar because look at the behavior of the coach.
And that's what I was going to say too.
Okay.
Eddie Robinson said right there during his interview, and just all this cussing. And I get that his interview where he said Deion Sanders wasn't swag. He said quite a few profane words in there. And to me, right, it's like, why all this? I mean, you wasn't saying that before when Deion Sanders was out talking all that junk. You had nothing to say. Now you're trying to act like you hard, sitting in front of the camera.
Somebody hating.
Talking all this mess. But the way he's talking, it helps me understand why the players talk that way. And part of being in a sport, especially a team sport, is not just about winning. You're supposed to be teaching these kids to be better humans, to have, to do sportsmanship and teamwork and respect and accountability. And Doesn't sound like Robinson's taking any responsibility for. I mean, maybe he will now that Dion's posted his video. But any
I don't
responsibility
know.
for what his players did? Deion Sanders said everything he did. He gave a reason for why he did what he did, whether or not you like why he did it. Especially even talking stuff before the game. He said, "I was just trying to sell out the stadium." It's almost like you're welcome.
Yep, yep. So I don't know what happened to the sportsmanship of the coach. I was
Hmm.
confused by the whole thing and how he treated Dion. I mean, I looked it up. Jackson State, they're 5-0, and so they beat you. You don't like it, but it is a football game, and sometimes you lose. And I thought he made himself look bad, the coach of Alabama State, with that whole behavior and pushing him away after every game, college, pro, the coaches always go up and shake each other's hand, and tell them it was a good game, it was a tough fight, all the little stuff that they say.
Hmm.
And now he's just making himself look like a spoiled, jealous kid. I'm mad because because Dion is Dion. He played for the Falcons, he played for the
There's
Braves.
nothing here he's going to be able to do to bring Dion down.
That's
If he
prime
he all he
time.
did was brought this man up more. You did the opposite of what you wanted to do.
Dion is prime time. He's talked about it, and I'm happy he's at Jackson State, at HBCU. He's brought a lot of notoriety to it. He has elevated the athletic program. The
Hmm.
university enrollment is up. He's getting more money donations, and
That's
within that
right.
foundation,
He gets
it's not only helping
endorsements
out
for
with
his players.
athletics, scholarships as
Yeah.
well. So I'm not mad at him. I don't keep up with Jackson State, but to act so jealous, that's the issue. And then your own players, and apparently he didn't correct his own players who were cussing out.
He refused to believe they did anything. He thought Dion was walking around talking to them. He just didn't know there's always a camera and
He
a
doesn't
microphone
like
following
Dion's
Dion.
celebrity, is what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to me too. And so now Eddie Robinson Jr. is the son of Coach Eddie Robinson, who was the coach of Grambling
Yep.
way back in the day.
Yep.
And he played for Alabama State. And so yeah, he is swag and he's real big in HBCU football. And that's great. I'm glad that you have that legacy. However, we can't dismiss the fact that Deion Sanders has done a ton for swag and HBCUs as a whole in
Absolutely.
the last few years.
Absolutely. And when they had the championship game, I think it was last December, Swag versus MEAC,
Yeah, the
and it
swag
was
MEAC
here in
championship.
Atlanta. I went.
Yeah.
I took my daughter. Went with my sisters. None of us went to HBCU except my youngest sister. But it was fun. I went because of Dion and how he was promoting it. He told Atlanta, "Come on out. Enjoy the game, support these HBCUs." And I went there. We had a ball.
Yeah.
But if Dion Sanders had not been the coach, it is unlikely that I would have gone to that game because I just don't know any of the schools. So I appreciate you, Deion Sanders, and what you do, and you teaching those young guys how to compete, on the field and off
Yeah.
the field, is my understanding.
Hmm.
Instead of Alabama State coach getting mad and jealous about it, you might want to just stand back and take some notes, you know.
I mean, I would hope that they at least sit down and talk about it later. Still, now I wonder if he'd be willing to do that, or if he's still too butthurt from the loss.
I don't know because Dion
Every
threw some flames on it. He threw some fuel on it. I just saw Dion's part of his post game conference, and the whole about who is SWAC. If it's
if
not the
I ain't
team
sweat.
that's 5-0, the only undefeated football team within that particular division, the SWAC division. What is it that you talk about? If you want to be SWAC, then why don't you be 5-0? Is what he was
Well,
really saying.
and he had to build up to that. Their record wasn't that great, the previous year. So it's not like he just came out and all of a sudden the team was great. He had to build a new team. He had to help them play better. I mean, he had to actually put some work in. And
Yeah.
so, follow his model. And hopefully the other teams could get. I mean, Deion Sanders and Megan Thee Stallion. They got a lot of people going to HBCUs now.
They sure do. And Oprah Winfrey.
Oh yeah, and Kamala Harris.
That is correct. That is correct. So my final thought about that, even on a deeper level, because some of it is a little confusing. Um, why do the black men have to fight each other?
And that was my main point. We saw Texas and Alabama, and they had issues. They still shook hands and hugged it
Yep,
out at the end. We've never seen that happen
yep,
with
yep. Well,
it. I mean,
colleges
just like,
they have rivalries,
yeah.
and UGA and Alabama. That's a tough game, but somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. I just thought it was unfortunate that this black man had to expose his insecurities, this coach, in front of
It was a
everybody.
great show. Like, except that it was a great show before and during and now after. It wasn't
Take the
supposed to be
L,
after too, but yeah.
take the L,
Try to do
and
better next year.
yeah, yeah, or you continue winning the other games. You might see them again in the playoff system, within the
Mhm.
SWAC system. But I just thought it was unfortunate that that incident happened between two black men, and one of them, who has a lot of celebrity. He uses it too. I don't blame you. Do your thing, Dion. And the other one just appears to be jealous. But instead of admiring that and taking the loss, he decided to do something that was a little childish and immature.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's sticking to it,
Yeah.
trying to make Dion the enemy. They beat you. The
Well,
game
well,
is
another
over.
thing is I really don't know what he thinks afterwards, because I mean, I don't know if he's even on social media, but if he was, he doesn't have any type of social media following that Deion Sanders does. So, his celebrity is still going to get his word out more than Eddie's is. I mean, you might want to
Yeah.
make a statement somewhere, sir.
And I might be stepping out on a limb with this one, but the message that he's sending out to other younger black men
Hmm.
on how to handle conflict or disappointment. We all saw what happened at the Oscars just a
Oh,
few
okay.
months ago
Right.
when a black man was mad at another black man because of a joke, and he decided to embarrass himself and the other black men by slapping the smack out of him in
Hmm.
front of the world. I thought that was a poor example of maturity. And here we are with something less severe, but it still sends that same message that, young black man, you can get mad. He can outshine you. He can outdo you. And you go smack him, or you
Yeah.
push him in the shoulder, to show him, who you are. That's the message that,
Assert your dominance at all
yes,
times.
although you lost. But that's what's unfortunate here. And there are a lot of young black men, 18 to 25. They're going to see that and they're going to like that, and
Hmm.
they're going to try to emulate that.
Yeah.
And believing that Dion somehow disrespected the coach, and so he deserved what he got. So that's the part that I found very discouraging from that, and it had to happen with two black men.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right. So, any other final thoughts from you, Dr. Aisha? That was a good one.
I,
So again, your dad was saying what? What was your dad saying?
that Deion Sanders was disrespectful, and he
Okay.
have any business walking on the other side of another team's field, and you don't do that, and talking to the
Ah,
players, and Dion ain't swag. I was like, Lord,
some
my dad is
unwritten
my
rules,
dad is
apparently.
82, so I wasn't. It was not worth my time trying to change his mind. I was just like, all right,
Well, he
I'm gonna
sounds set in
holler
his
at you later.
ways, but it sounds like there's some unwritten rules. And
Yeah.
and Dion, knowing what I know about Dion Sanders, he may have done that intentionally to throw off the other team, to make them more emotional about the game. He's walking on the opposite side of the field to rile them up, is what,
But then,
what
I
I'm
mean, like,
thinking.
also then get your emotions together. Come on. Like, if
Gotcha.
you can't hold it together when Deion Sanders is walking around the field, it's gonna be so many other things that happen in your life where you're gonna need to check your emotions. Don't let this get you all out of whack.
I agree. I agree. In the swag.
Look at you, you got bars, Harrison.
All right, guys, this has been a really good conversation between myself and Dr. Aisha. You guys are listening to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
We will see you guys next week at 7 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, broadcasting live on the Our Black Media Network. See you then.